this is the first video I'm making for my YouTube channel. I just wanted to do a quick little video to sort of introduce myself and give a little bit of background. So I am 25 years old and I live in South Australia. I am married and I have two sons. My oldest son is 11, he's my stepson, so I've been his stepmom since he was 2 years old. And I just gave birth to my youngest son 4 months ago. I wanted to create a channel so I could share my health journey from here on out. I have an honours degree in psychology and I'm currently studying a Bachelor of Food and Nutrition. So I have an intellectual passion for health and well-being, but I also have a personal interest, as I guess most people do who want to invest in their health. A little bit of my health journey background. I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible because it is a long story, but just want to give the main information. Throughout my childhood and adolescent years, I was always sick. I had reoccurring stomach pains, fevers, headaches, aches and pains. Always had cold and flus, or those kinds of things. And when I was a child, I also experienced a lot of trauma, which led to a diagnosis of anxiety, depression, and then later PTSD. So because of my mental health diagnosis, my physical health issues were often blamed on that. When I was 20 years old, I was hospitalized for 20th time with a fever and severe stomach pain. I can't even describe the pain. It was off the charts. I just remember being at uni and trying to push through every day, being bent over in pain, holding my stomach, felt hot, flushed, all of those kinds of things, and had no idea why. Saw the GP, they didn't really have an answer for me, said it was a fever, go home, take some Panadol and Nurofen. The ED doctors ran tests like they usually do, and my inflammation markers were off the charts high. My temperature was 40 plus degrees Celsius and wasn't coming down. At this point in time, I only weighed about 47 kilos. I wasn't eating, I was nauseous. They couldn't touch my stomach without me crying in pain, and the pain relief they were giving me just wasn't helping. They came to the conclusion of appendicitis and began preparing me for surgery. But before they wheeled me in, the on-call doctor in the ED said she wanted to do a CT scan first, just to make sure, because she went over my notes and could see from my history that I had presented to ED multiple times with the same pains and same complaints, and just wasn't convinced it was appendicitis, because appendicitis isn't something that would go on for years. So she just wanted to check if there was something else underlying going on, which I'm so grateful for. So a few hours later, the doctors came back and said that the CT scan showed inflammation in the bowel around the appendix. So they weren't going to do surgery to remove my appendix, but they would be in touch with the inflammatory bowel team and see me in a few days' time after some more test results came back. I was admitted to hospital from the ED, and I spent about a week there having blood tests, scans, and a colonoscopy. I then met with the IBD team, the inflammatory bowel disease team, and they diagnosed me with Crohn's disease. So Crohn's disease is an autoimmune condition that causes inflammation of the digestive tract, anywhere from mouth all the way through. This was a huge shock to me. I had no idea about Crohn's disease. I don't think I'd even heard of it. And I went through a lot of emotion that week, as expected. I always say that I never expected to go to the hospital and be sent home telling me they can't fix me. It was life-changing. So Crohn's disease is currently incurable, but it is managed with medication, which is what I started on straight away. I began rounds of steroids, and I also started an immune suppressant medication. Both of these really helped my condition, and I'm incredibly grateful to have these medications because they saved my life. However, the rest of my body has suffered from the side effects of these medications. So one of the side effects that I experience is weight fluctuations. So the weight fluctuations have been difficult on both my physical and my mental health. Up until I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, I was always kind of underweight. I only weighed about 50 kilos. I am pretty short. I'm only 158 centimeters, so it wasn't too bad, but it was definitely less than what I should have weighed at the time. After I began treatment for Crohn's, I put on 10 kilos in over a few months, which was great. After 2 years of treatment, I finally started to feel better nausea-wise. I was able to stomach food more. My intestines had finally begun to heal because with Crohn's disease, the digestive tract has tears and it's inflamed and there's sores and all kinds of things, which makes eating just very difficult. So after 2 years, it finally began to heal, which meant that my body was finally absorbing the food that I was eating. So the combination of enjoying food again, the steroids, and my body finally absorbing calories meant excessive weight gain. So I ended up gaining about 20 kilos within 3 months, and that was difficult on my body. My body took that very hard. It was the most I'd ever weighed, and it was such a big change in a short amount of time. And like I said, I'm short, so I did end up putting on more weight than my body could probably handle. Then alongside the weight fluctuations, I also experienced migraines and headaches. I still had nausea and stomach troubles, but it just wasn't as severe. Due to the immune suppressants, I was frequently unwell with viruses and infections. If anyone around me had anything, I would just get that. Before I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, I also experienced and dealt with a lot of painful periods and excessive bleeding and those kinds of things. That's a whole issue in itself, but that kind of never went away with the treatment of Crohn's, which I guess was expected because they're two different things. But yeah, so I was also experiencing side effects from that. Some hormone testing with the doctors, and it showed clinically low levels of progesterone after ovulation and high levels of testosterone. I was also borderline for insulin resistance, which was a worry in itself. All in all, I just felt awful. I think the hardest part about it all was with the diagnosis of Crohn's and how bad it was and what I was experiencing at the time. They told me that I may never be able to carry and conceive and carry a child, which has always been what I wanted to do. And to have the hormone issues popped on top of that, insulin resistance and those kinds of things, and the weight gain just made things so much harder. My standard GP was super helpful, but she just wasn't able to provide the support that I needed without introducing more medication. I actually ended up trying some medication for the migraines, but that came with a whole bunch of symptoms itself. So I just felt like I was chasing my symptoms with more medications and then chasing the symptoms of those medications, and it's just, that's not what I wanted. I already felt awful from the side effects of the medication to keep me alive. I didn't want more. I ended up booking in with an integrative GP. So for those who aren't familiar, here in Australia, an integrative GP is a qualified medical doctor who focuses on the patient and their history as a whole, not just on the isolated acute symptoms. And this was a defining and life-changing step for my health, both physically and mentally. The integrative GP looked over my recent blood tests, all my recent scans, all of those kinds of things, ordered more tests. We also discussed my anxiety, which at this stage was so debilitating. I was taking time off of work. I wasn't able to get out of bed. It was constantly in my mind. I was just so sick with worry all of the time. Developed health anxiety because of everything I was experiencing. We ended up beginning a bunch of nutrients and supplements to aid my body's recovery and help with the hormone balance. So within 4 weeks of starting the nutrients and supplements and those kinds of things, I had significantly reduced migraines, and I was pregnant with my baby. My baby is now 4 months old at the time of recording the video. I won't go into details about the pregnancy and my health journey throughout my pregnancy in this video. I will do that in another one. I'm currently putting a lot of effort into my time and health and well-being. I am 4 months postpartum at the time of this video, so I've only just gotten back into the gym after some well-needed recovery time. I will be doing a postpartum update video and documenting my fat loss journey, so please check out my other videos if you're interested in seeing that side of things. I think I mentioned it earlier, but I'm currently studying nutrition, and my career goal is to work with nutrition and mental health together as a whole, and really look into how the things we eat can affect our mind and vice versa. So I'll be sharing lots of videos and tips and stuff around that, as I guess I'll be my own test subject. Thank you for staying and listening to my health story. It was very brief, but I just wanted to give a little condensed version of why I'm here and why I'm doing this. So I hope that you'll follow along with my journey.